Hello, today we are going to focus on adding and subtracting improper fractions. However, before we move on to that, I just want to go over a few things from yesterday's work. First, you all did a fabulous job. I am very impressed how hard you worked in this online learning experience. There was two problems that you guys made a few mistakes on, and this was a common mistake. It wasn't just one person who made these mistakes. Most of you did get this wrong. Not a big deal, but we're going to go over this problem together. It says Maddie walked 3/8 mile to the corner of her street. She walked another 7/8 mile to her friend's house. How far did Maddie walk? So together we have to combine these two amounts, which is requiring us to use addition. So the first thing I'm going to do is rewrite 3/8 plus 7/8. Sorry, try my best here with this tool. 3/8 plus 7/8. Now, notice my denominators are the same. So all I'm going to do is simply add my numerators. So 3 plus 7 is leaving me with 10 as my numerator, and my denominator is going to stay exactly the same as 8. Now, many of you I know when you have 10/8, you recognize that 10/8 is equivalent to the mixed number 1 and 2/8. Now we could do this two different ways. We can draw this out and count our eighths and go 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, 5/8, 6/8, 7/8, 8/8, 9/8, 10/8. And then you recognize you have one whole and 2/8. Or you can actually set it up as a division problem, 10 divided by 8. Which 8 times what number gets me closer exactly to 10? 1. 8 times 1 is 8. We subtract and we'd be left with 2. And my 2, my remainder, is also going to become my numerator, and my divisor of 8 becomes my denominator. So this is how we came up with 1 and 2/8. But in this problem, we don't see 1 and 2/8. Now, you don't always need to simplify, but if you don't see the answer, there probably is an equivalent fraction that's also an answer choice. So I also noticed my fraction's 2/8. And they're both even numbers. So that tells me I could divide my denominator and my numerator both by 2. Which is going to leave me with 1 and 1/4. And that's giving me an answer choice of C as the correct answer. Now, some of you had all different types of answers. Some of you recognized that it had to be C or D because you knew it had to be greater than 1, which that was a great step and a great process of elimination. But it's also important that you recognize you might have had the right answer, and if it's not there, you can always simplify. Now, moving on to the next problem. 4 4/5 minus 3 2/5. Now you can set this up leaving it horizontally, or you can rewrite it vertically, either way. But I wanted you to recognize that the most common mistake I saw in many of these problems is some of you subtracted or you added your whole number. So you did 4 minus 3, which is 1, which is great. But then you didn't do it to your numerators. So then you only subtracted your whole number, but you didn't subtract your numerators. So you can't forget you're also doing 4 minus 2, which is 2, and we keep the same denominator of 5. Something else I saw was you subtracted your numerators, but you didn't subtract your whole numbers, also giving you an incorrect answer. Some of you also started adding when the sign was subtraction. So it's really important that you look at the sign to make sure, are we adding or subtracting? So the correct answer here should be B, 1 and 2/5. Now, what we're going to work on today is adding and subtracting improper fractions. Now, you can also represent these mixed numbers as improper fractions. So you can choose when you're doing these operations, when you're adding and subtracting, you can leave it as a mixed number, or you can change it into an improper fraction. In the examples today, you're going to see specifically improper fractions just like this. So just like we've done in the past, we first look at my denominators and we see that they're both 2, which this is great because now you just need to subtract your numerators. So we have 5 minus 3, which is 2, and my denominator is also 2. Now you could leave your answer as 2 divided by 2 or 2 halves, but we also know that 2 divided by 2 is the same as 1 whole. So 2 divided by 2 is equivalent to 1 whole. So these are both correct answers. In my next problem here, I have 28 thirds minus 26 thirds. Now the first thing, we always look at my denominators and we see that they're exactly the same. So now I simply subtract my numerators. Now 28 minus 26 they're larger numbers. Some of you might be able to do this in your head, but some of you might need to rewrite this on the side. And that's absolutely fine if you need to do that. So right now I'm writing 28 minus 26 on scrap paper in my notebook. It would be great. So now I have 8 minus 6 is 2, and 2 minus 2 is 0. So that's giving me a numerator of 2, and my denominator is staying 3. So the answer to this problem, 28 thirds minus 26 thirds, is 2 thirds. And my last problem here, I also have 2 improper fractions, except this time I look at my sign and I see that it is no longer subtraction. So now I am adding these numbers together. I always look at my denominators and I see that they are exactly the same. So I just need to add my numerators. But again, I see larger numbers. So I'm going to also rewrite this on the side just to make sure I don't make any mistakes. So I have 56 plus 23. And now I'm simply going to add my 2 numerators together. 6 plus 3 is 9, and 5 plus 2 is 7, giving me a new numerator of 79, and my denominator is going to stay the same, which is also 6. Now, yes, you can turn this improper fraction back into a mixed number, but it is not mandatory that you do that. During today's activity, you can actually leave your answers as an improper fraction and simply type them in just like this improper fraction here, 79/6. So as you go through today's tasks, you may refer back to this video. I know you're doing this on Edpuzzle now, but all of these videos are posted on my YouTube channel as well, so you can refer back to them at any time during this online experience. As always, if you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to reach out to me during the school day.